Another angle, some of you seen it before, is the business model, I like to call it. Probably one of the best formulas to be aware of and more conscious about more in the daily practices. The red circuit, the God's business, we have no control or no influence over it. It's like the traffic, the weather, you heard it before, the war in Ukraine, or whatever the war is. You have no control over it, no influence. But regarding service, approximately 80% of the people spend 80% of the time bitching around the red circuit with no use of it, just draining yourself and your surroundings of energy. Shouldn't we talk about it? Of course we should, but we shouldn't get stuck with it. That's the trick. So can we decrease it from 80% down to 60%? You save yourself a lot of energy during a year. The second circuit is, I call it the yellow one, or the others area. Others, talking about what others can do and can't do, having opinions what others should do and should not do. The only thing we can do with them, we have no control over them, not even your kids or your wife or your husband or your whatever, your neighbor. You can only try to influence them with getting better with argumentation technique, of course. But the only thing we can do is taking care of our own business, of course. That's the only thing we have control over. So that's what I love with this Petter Stordalen, the hotel manager. It's actually, I don't know how many hotels he have, 230, 240, 250 maybe. He said the strawberry principle. Do what you can with what you have where you are. He's telling his manager always that when he's hiring them. Do what you can with what you have where you are. That's the only thing you can. So don't focus on what you can't do. Try to focus on what you can do. That's why I hire you. That's his message all the time. It's very easy to sit here and talk about all this stuff, guys, but I know it's hard handling. But how do you handle all this stuff? I usually say the morning sets the standard. The morning sets the standard for the rest of the day. Regarding Joe Dispenza, he says, the first 15 minutes when you wake up in the morning, when you open your eyes, the thing you actually pump in your system, even if you listen to it, you read it, you see it, whatever it is, it's gonna stick with you for the rest of the day. Because the soil, if you call the brain like the soil is more fertile in the morning because it's more receptive, the brain, right? It's like, your brain is like a computer's hardware actually, which involuntarily accepts the software it's been programmed with. So be aware of the first 15 minutes what you actually program your software with, because it's gonna get stuck with you for the rest of the day. But most people, they know it, but they don't do it. They are more unconscious about what they do instead of start up with social media, reading the mail or reading the news, and they got stuck in there. They don't mean anything bad with it, but it's just a programmed behavior, and it's very hard to change. But try to be aware of what you actually do in the first 15 or 20 minutes during the day before you when you open up the eyes. Just to be more aware of how you can handling this stuff, right? What's actually focus in the morning after you pumped yourself up and get yourself in state? That's your own responsibility, and some people put the blame on all other people, but that's all responsibility. So I usually call, what's your axe shops, my friend? Imagine you have a garden outside your house where you live, and you're getting up, you take your coffee, you take a cup of tea, or you take a juice if you're a juice person. You sharpen the edge of the axes, and you get up in the garden and you take 3 distinctive chops on this tree you have in the garden. You go in and you do whatever you want to do further on when you go to work. Day 2, you wake up in the morning, you take your coffee, you're sharpening the edge of the axe, you're going out in the garden again, chopping 3 distinct chop, 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 chop on this 3. Same thing day 3, same thing day 4. Not 8 chops, not 28 chops, just 3 chops. A pace you can handle for a year. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen with the tree, my friends? Right, it's gonna fall. Second question is, how long time is gonna take? Right? Some people had some engineers a couple of weeks ago, they said depending on the angle on the axe and everything else, but it's not that complicated. It's like, how big is the tree actually? How large is your goal actually? So if you're just starting, finding out what's highest on your list, and the highest on your list is your tree in the garden, and you're sharpening your edge, you're doing one thing in the morning, putting your aim, 3 distinct shots, no more, no less, but you do it 5 days a week, and you know the tree is gonna fall. It's only a matter of time.